All right, welcome back. We're getting cracked back on the Cougar XR7. In the last video, you saw we got it running after we checked it all out. Pretty solid little car, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it ain't a little car.
Well, that's true. You did clarify that it is a boat.
Boat.
Yes. So, a few things we're going to try to accomplish tonight. We're going to get the driver's seat out of it. I was checking into the options on these things because Richie and I had noticed that XR7 wasn't really equipped a lot. Turns out these are factory wheels. The 302 was the standard engine. They had all kinds of decor packages and such, but you could still onesie-twosie order your options. So this car was purposely ordered with crank windows, no gauges, no console, but a power driver's seat. Go figure. The driver's power seat goes up, down, tilts. The forward and back seams, you can hear it trying. So we're going to get the driver's seat out. And while he's doing the master cylinder, some shocks, I'm going to tear into that, see what we can get done. We're going to try to get some shocks on it tonight, get a master cylinder on it tonight, maybe some belts. And then we're going to get it up on stands, get the wheels and tires off. Brand new rubber showed up today for it. So what are you looking forward to the most?
None of it.
I thought you were going to say your big block swap. Okay, so let's get at it. Okay, so on to the inside of the car here. Richie took a look at the hardware for the seats. And that was because I was wondering if they were going to snap off or if it looked good. What's it look like, Richie?
They'll snap off.
Are you kidding me?
No, maybe.
With all your skill, I had faith in you.
Oh, it'll come out.
Oh, you're a former Walmart tire tech.
Oh, 100%.
You have skills.
Skill.
Okay, we're going to get the seat out and so I can get cracking on that. Richie's got some shocks and belts and a master cylinder that he is just dying to do.
Can't wait. We're not going to break a single brake line or anything. No bolts going to be broken. It's going to be great.
Yes, I love the optimism. See, that's better. We always know the reality, and you're always trashing the fantasy. I'm glad to see you're coming along with the fantasy now.
Can we get another car from like Kansas City or wherever you got that Duke? Because these Iowa cars kind of suck.
It's actually better than average for an Iowa car.
It's far better than average, but still not great.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. You need to go where I need to take you down where I got that wagon this last weekend, the Ford wagon.
I guess.
It is.
I haven't seen it up close, but I mean,
wait till you see the video.
Yeah.
For those that are interested, there's going to be some little eye candy in that video. All right, let's get this seat tore out. We'll be back in a minute. So we have been joined by Sandy. She has come down to supervise Richie and I. What you think, Sandy? Yep, Richie's over there. Should we go see if he's doing a good job? Yeah, head over there. Check him out. Yeah, get over there. Yep, she's checking in on the staff members. How's he doing, Sandy? Is he doing a good job? Look at her checking it out. Yep. Is that acceptable, dear? Oh, we need closer inspection.
Yep.
Yep, that's good. She says it's good. Okay, we'll let him get back to work. All righty. Richie has gotten the driver's seat extracted. And then we went ahead and pulled the rear seat out. We got about what? Now it's fourplex or a duplex? Probably duplex. I've seen worse.
Double wide.
Double wide. Yeah, double wide. That works. We have a double wide. We evicted that. And got some cleaning to do on the carpet. Now we did find, what'd you find under the seat?
2 pennies.
What was the date on them?
79 on both of them.
And they looked like what?
79 brand new.
Brand new. I bet you they've been down there since
79.
70. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I think one of them's sitting right over here, isn't it? So here's one of the pennies he found. It's a 1979, and it is like new. So, alrighty. I'm going to get cracking on the seat here. The power motors here actually look to be in really good condition. This has a main power feed in, so a positive and negative, so I should be able to hotwire this and then run the switches here and get to working on this and get it figured out. So hopefully this doesn't put up too much of a fight. Richie, I think you've been begging me to do shocks. Look at the enthusiasm on that face.
Anything on that build sheet left to read, or is it like all gone?
No, that was the other thing too. We did find the build sheet. what was left of it. It looks like Mickey had a little buffet, and there's not much to make of it, but yeah, they pretty much ate that.
On the bright side, all the bolts came out without breaking.
Yes.
We did kill a socket, but most importantly, was not my socket, so we're okay.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the seatbelt bolt, the T50, goes through here, put up a bit of a fight. We had to get underneath the car with the MAP gas torch. I sent Richie up in the car. I got underneath it with a brush and a MAP gas torch, and
Came right out.
Yep, like butter. So, all right, shocks. Now, a lot of car guys know, a lot of you guys know, on the front shocks, when you can see the stud sticking up like that, I'm going to zoom this in there, Richie. Yeah. When the stud of the shock is sticking up like that, you can get a long extension. You want to show that, Vanna? And bend it back and forth and snap that right off, because I'm sorry, there was no way the threads on this were coming out. Let's get that out real quick. This vise was Pamela's grandfather's vise, and her folks recently moved from are moving actually from the homestead and building a house in town, and I bought that from Pamela's dad. That thing is
older than Jim.
Yeah, well, that's pretty old, but isn't that just badass, Richie?
Yeah.
All right, why don't you beat on it? Let's get that piece of shock out of that socket.
Done.
See how crusty this was? There was no way we were spinning this off. So that's why you get the extension on there and you just break them off. All right, moving on. Okay, a little tip on shocks. When you have these threaded shafts like this and you want to get the nut to go on there, go to the wire wheel and clean this off. And the paint sometimes will bind and make it hard to get it tight. Things spin and aggravate you. So I'm going to hit it with the wire wheel. I'll show you what it looks like when I get right back. Okay, so here we have one that I wire brushed. Hopefully that's showing up. Is that showing up, Sandy? I see you're down there. And then here's one that hasn't been. And the difference is that paint can sometimes be pretty thick on these. So you clean them off and the hardware will go on a little better. I'm going to get this other one done. Sandy's down here supervising. All right, we're going to get the other one cleaned off. All right, I'm going to zoom in on here. So here's the 3 motors for the power seat, okay? And in combination, these will do the tilt, up, down, whatever. And I could do up, down, or I could do tilt, but we couldn't get the forward to back working. So I'm going to pan back out here. So what we're trying to do is make these work. So what I've done is the main power plug here is just positive, negative. And then I've ran that down here to a battery, 12-volt battery down here. So I'm just running power in. So the seat thinks it's still in the car because we have it hooked up to a 12-volt battery. And so I've been in here with my persuader, and I went through here and I was just wrapping on all these a little bit, trying to shake things up a bit. And so we had tilt this way, and then we have the rear tilt, and then we had the up and the down. But now look what we have. We got the forward and the back. Sometimes these electric motors, the brushes stick in them just a little bit, and sometimes just a little tapping from a brass hammer or something else. No different than unsticking a float or anything, but I'm going to get on here with some lube. Lube all these tracks up, and then all the different gear pieces and sliders and all this stuff under here. I want to show you what we've got here now that we've got these all cleaned up and lubed up. I want to show you how well all this is working. So let's move the camera over here. Got the power source hooked up now. Check it out. Moving so much better. The up and down tilt. Now what I actually found is the front tilt. This actual spring back here, I don't know if you can see it, there's one of the tilt springs, had fallen off and was kind of wedged in here. So I had to actually get that right here. This spring, had to get that from underneath here and reinstall it. So that was part of what was binding up the forward and back, but now everything's moving real good. We're gonna get the seat back in the car. All right, Richie's got the shocks. I said to show you this. It's one of the old rear shocks. Yeah, it might have been bad. So Good thing we're changing those out. I just like to see this, so. Richie!
Yo.
You done yet?
No, I still gotta route the wiring for the air shock part of it.
Oh, okay, he's putting in air shocks. Yeah, right. That means we'd be spending real money on this car. We're not gonna do that. All right, here's one of the front shocks Richie took off. Listen.
I'm way too much fun with that.
I mean, you can just hear it just like crunching and everything inside. That's hilarious. Yeah, definitely needed these. Alrighty, we got the shocks done on the bottom side. So we'll come up top here. We're gonna get the hardware on the top side, button up the shocks. I think we might be calling it a night. Richie and I are both tired and hungry. I don't know if you've seen Richie lately, but he can't afford to waste away anymore.
Anymore?
Yeah, you're scrawny.
I never could.
We gave Richie a whole bunch of Pamela's Christmas baked goods. Thought, well, we need to put some meat on this boy's bones. And he can eat it all, never gains an ounce. You got that bushing on yet?
It's on there.
You got tightened up yet?
I mean, I don't have to. It ain't my car.
Can feel the love.
How much you want to bet that's not just sitting there spinning? That rod.
You think it is?
Oh, I know it is. Even though we take all
Yeah.
the paint off and everything.
But do you know I have a tool that turns the shaft and you hold the nut with a wrench?
You don't just vice grip it?
You know they actually make a socket for that. So for those of you who don't know, they actually make a socket that has the shape of the end of the shaft of the shock on there. So then you put that on the shaft of the shock, and then you put a wrench, the box end wrench around the nut. Now the key is you have to run the ratchet in reverse to screw the nut tight. Try that out, Richie. So Richie's gonna get a taste of some old school tools.
How much did that socket set cost back in the day?
There's only two sizes.
Right, but how much did it cost?
Oh, I think they were like $8 a piece or something. They're Snap-on.
What about reverse?
Yeah, put it in reverse. Isn't that cool? Pretty neat.
If you have the tool.
Yeah, well, we have the tool. Try to contain your enthusiasm, Richie. There you go. Pretty slick, huh? Old dog's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna help you put the big block in it.
Are you still stuck on a big block?
Big block.
Yeah, big blocks are expensive.
Luxury automobile, you gotta pay to play.
Yeah, but have you seen the car? We got to get something shinier if we're going to do a motor swap.
I don't know, rat rod. But that Lincoln, on the other hand, she needs a big block.
Well, Lincoln has a big block.
Bigger block.
It already has a big block, you bonehead. Well, good evening. We're back in the shop tonight, and as you saw the last time Richie and I were in here, did some work underneath the car, shocks and such, got the seat out and everything. Tonight, I'm going to get into wheels, tires, and brakes. So I'm going to pop all four of these wheels and tires off. I've got some brake parts here, but I want to double check, make sure I don't need to order anything else tomorrow. And the new tires showed up, so we're going to get them mounted up tomorrow. So let's knock these wheels and tires off. All right, let's pop this wheel and tire off here. See what we got. All right, let's have us a look-see here. Okay, so the rotors actually are not really heavily grooved there. I mean, they got a little surface on them. Pads are about half, but I've got some brand new pads for that. Brake hoses, definitely need that. Come on in here, have a look with me. As you can see here, the surface of the rotor actually is pretty smooth. There's no deep grooves in it. The caliper's not really dragging. I can turn it by hand easily. But check out this brake hose here. I don't know if you can see that, but the cracking and the weathering on those, definitely going to change those. I do have those already ordered. In fact, they're already here. And then, I don't know what kind of odds I'm giving myself on that brake line. We're going to soak that sucker down tonight for sure. Looks like they, like I said, the pads are about half left, but we got pads for that. I also went ahead and ordered brand new calipers just because These do tend to drag a little bit, and they weren't that expensive. So we're gonna go ahead and change out the calipers. Let's pop the rear wheels off and see what we got on the rear brakes. Rear wheel and tire off. Pop the center cap. Okay, well, yes, we have some vegetation, of course. Oh yeah, didn't get quite as lucky on the rear jumps for this one. They're on here a little bit. We might have to rattle them with the air hammer to get them off. Let me go get one of those. Be right back. Okay, now when it comes to using an air hammer on a rear drum, you want to hit it right between the studs, because that's where the flange of the axle is. And we're trying just to vibrate and break that crust loose, especially around the hub here. Now, I don't know how good the video is going to pick it up, but when you're air hammering, it'll have a pretty solid sound, and that all of a sudden that'll change pitch. That's when you know it's breaking free. So let's see what we can do. Okay, did you hear that ringing change? That's what we're after. All right, let's see if we got it broke loose or if we got a ridge. Okay, the drum is loose on the axle and the hub, but it does feel like we got a bit of a ridge. So I'm gonna keep working on this, see what we can do to get this off. Be right back. That was a fight. Oh my. Catch my breath. All right. We got us a little bit of a ridge here in the drum. The shoes actually don't look too awful bad. Quite a bit of meat left. We do have some moisture inside these wheel cylinders. They're gonna have to be replaced, but yeah, come on in here. Have a look with me. So as you can see, we have quite a bit of meat left here on the brake shoes themselves. They look like they're adhering really well. So I think the shoes will actually be all right, but see how it's a little darker across the wheel cylinder here, and when you pull this back, it's kind of gooey in there. Yeah, that's where some of the brake fluids, especially on this back one here, it's getting past the wheel seal, or the brake fluid seal in there, the piston seal. So I do have new wheel cylinders. We're going to be replacing those, of course. While we have it apart, new hardware, it's inexpensive. Going to replace that as well. So, and the drums actually don't look too awful bad. A few little grooves, but yeah, it's got a heck of a ridge. I'm going to get these popped off. We'll take them down, get them turned. Let's get the other ones off, see what we got. Okay, on the left rear wheel here, we've got a bit of a situation. I have all the lug nuts off. But sometimes these aluminum rims and the steel axles, you'll get electrolysis, a corrosion between them. So it's stuck on there. Get yourself a thumper, go in behind here, and whack it on the inside edge. Try not to hit the rim, because aluminum alloy rims will get damaged real easily. Let's see if we can pop this one off. There we go. And just like that, get it taken off. See if this drum comes off just as hard as the other side. Oh, looky what we have. We got quite a, yeah, we got us quite the prairie here. Yeah, she's been laying in the weeds, but we knew that. All right. Oh, this one's actually not seized to the axle. Let's see what we can do here. It's got a ridge too. Let's get the air hammer. Now, even though the drum was already broke away from the wheel or the axle, what I was trying to do is see if we can't vibrate that ridge a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to have to go in but through the backside, try to back off the adjuster, but see if we can work that loose, get it off. All right, you have to get after it. Be right back. Oh, woo! That was a little bit of a fight too. Same thing though. It looks like the brakes actually weren't done that long ago. Riveted on shoes. They've got plenty of life left in there, nice and smooth. The brake drum on this side is actually in a little better shape. It does have that ridge, but really no grooves. Let's see what it looks like in the wheel cylinder. Actually pretty dry, but as crusty as everything is, we're probably going to replace it. So just like the other side, probably reuse the shoes, new hardware. I'm going to change out that wheel cylinder. Let's see what we got up front. Now I know this one will come off because I already had this wheel off. I had to put a tire on it to get it off the trailer. So I know this wheel will come off. There we go. Oh, I'm working up a sweat. Yeah, jeepers. Wow, this rotor looks even better. Same thing on the brake hose. Looking a little tough and weathered. So caliper. Like I said, I went ahead and got new ones. But yeah, come on in here, have a look. All right, come on in here, have a look with me. Bring the light over here so we can see really good. Yeah, and you can see how the brake hose itself. I don't know how well you can see the weathering and such and the cracks on that, but we definitely need to be doing something with that. The rotor itself, the surface is actually pretty smooth. There's no real big grooves. Maybe just a little, I don't know that I'm even going to turn these. I'll probably just clean them up and then obviously repack the wheel bearings and such. But it spins free, so the caliper's not dragging. But irregardless, they're very inexpensive, very easy to change. And we're going to do the hose anyway. Might as well get some new calipers on here. New set of pads and everything. I think we'll be good to go. I just wanted to let you guys know the emails. Oh my gosh, have I been enjoying the emails you're sending. And again, you guys are working on some pretty cool stuff. And some of the things is just, you're getting back out and getting at it. And that's what one of the things I hope this channel was going to do is inspire you to get back out in that garage and work on your ride. So the first one, his name is Kevin. And it's exactly that. He watched the first video of the Cougar, and inspired him to get after his 78. And he hadn't touched it in a while. He says the video inspired him to get out there and start polishing on it. And he sent me a couple pictures. He sent me a before, right here. And then he got after it and polished it up a little bit, and it turned out like this. Now, granted, he said that's just one side, but it's nice to see you getting out there, Kevin, and making that thing look good. Now, Mario, oh my gosh, Mario, he imported a beautiful Cadillac Eldorado over to Austria, and he is rocking that cool ride around Austria, and you can see it right here. Beautiful, beautiful car. And Mario, love the scenery, it looks great. Scott lives, oh gosh, only just a couple hours from me. He sent me a picture. Scott has a really nice, I think it was a 77 T-Bird. I hope I got the year right there, Scott. It's black, 50,000 original miles, and it's looking really good right here. Okay, love the pictures of that one. And then Jim, great name of course, Jim, gotta love that one. Jim sent me a picture of his 78 Cougar right here. Look at this thing. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? His dad bought that thing brand new. Beautiful light blue color. My very first car was a 74 Mercury Comet. Yes, I still own that car today. Same color, same color. So love that one, Jim. Beautiful car, beautiful car. Now Jackson and his dad, and Jackson emailed me. Him and his dad have been working on some projects together. And currently it's not the normal flavor, but him and his dad have been working on this 99 Land Rover right here. And I guess it's got a bit of an attitude when they go to work on it sometimes. I know, shocker, Land Rover. Okay, but thanks for sending me the picture. And hey, if you guys have something you're working on, you'd like me to see it, send me the pictures, send me the story, and maybe I'll feature it on an upcoming episode where we show some viewers' rides. And like I said, keep the emails coming. You can reach me at right here, theinevitablegym@gmail.com, and keep them coming. I enjoy it. So for now, let's load up these wheels and tires. Let's get them to the shop. mount up that brand new rubber. And here we are. We got the wheels and tires back, got the new rubber mounted up on them, and yes, of course, white walls. Got to put white walls on the 70s rides. Tried to get some raised white letters, but couldn't get them in a reasonable amount of time, so got these all mounted up, ready to go back on the car. However, we got brakes to do first. Yep, it's the next night. Back on the rear brakes here, and wanted to turn the camera on here as I was getting started. I had juiced down all the metal brake lines because they were looking a little crusty. And I had about 2.639% hope that I was going to be able to crack them loose without breaking the lines. You're not going to believe this. Get in here and take a look at this. Check this out. You're not going to believe this. Yes, that is the nut spinning and the line not spinning. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, I think it's time to go buy a lottery ticket on this one. Matte gas torch, and just you put some penetrating fluid on there, hit it with the torch, warm it up. Then I put some more penetrant on there, heated it with the matte gas torch, penetrant, matte gas, a couple, 2-3 times, and then I put the line wrench back on there, held the line down lower, and just slowly wiggled it until, sure enough, it started rotating. Let's get these brakes torn apart. Okay, now I know you've seen a ton of YouTube videos. There's all kinds of videos out there about doing drum brakes. Got it. And sometimes when it comes to doing different jobs on cars that require special tools, that you try to find a workaround with a basic tool, because the specialized tools are expensive, or we just don't have them. So I've always, for years, and it's my preference, used a pair of brake pliers, okay? On this end here, it has a hook, and that's for putting the springs back on. And on this end here, it has a tapered end with this little rotating, like a foot, almost like a duck bill on a tire machine, okay? When you're gonna do drum brakes, these are available, they're like $25 on Amazon, okay? It's very inexpensive. So what I always like to do is just get in here, rotate it, boom, that's it, pops it right off. This one here, rotate it, pops it right off. No busted knuckles, no skin fingers. Take your springs off, set them down here. And then I like to use, this is for the actual hold down springs. And it grabs it, pushes it in. And you can do pliers and such if you want, but it's not that much harder to get the right tool. And you rotate it like that, turn it 90 degrees, pops it out of the slot. And there you go. Now the shoes are loose. Pull them apart at the top. Get the parking brake bar to fall out. And voila, the shoes are off. And we didn't bust a knuckle, we didn't skin a finger, nothing like that. So when it comes time to doing drum brakes the next time, check into it. See if a pair of pliers and such is good for you, and a hold down spring tool. It's just the way I learned, and the other way's fine, nothing wrong with it. It's just, you're risking some skin knuckles. So I'm gonna work on getting this wheel cylinder off. Back in a minute. Okay, I got the 2 bolts out on the back side of the wheel cylinder to hold the wheel cylinder in, and I've got the line completely unscrewed. And one thing you want to do is you want to take the little push pins out. Usually have to reuse these, and we're going to take them to the wire wheel, clean them up. But then they're usually stuck in here, so get in here with a little persuader and just gently tap on it. Just like that, just a little tap. And out it comes. Okay, so you want to take your new wheel cylinder, and I always like to stick it through here and get the line started first, so block the camera for a second. The reason I like to start it by hand first is the line is one of the easiest things to get cross-threaded, and sometimes you just need that little bit of wiggle room to get it started, and since it's sometimes the toughest thing to get started, I like to do that first. So we've got that started. I'm going to reach around it because I'm going to block the camera anyway. Get that tightened up and get these 2 bolts in for the wheel cylinder. Be right back. Okay, we got our wheel cylinder tightened up now. I got the little push pins cleaned up and the wire wheel there. Simply pop these right back in here. Got those on there. Now we're going to rinse off the backing plate, clean it off with a little bit of brake clean. I would hit it with a wire brush, and I loosened up the stuff, so I'm just kind of giving it a rinse, and that'll dry real quickly. I'll show you how quick and easy it goes back on with all the hardware with the right tools. So you take your 2 nails, I call them the nails, they're the pins, the hold down pins, stick them through, Put the barking brake bar in here, so that way it's in place. And we're going to take our first shoe here, get our hold down spring, set it in place, kind of hold it with your thumb, push tool, push in, turn half, boom, on you go. Now we're going to hop over here, get the other one in. Okay, now once you get both hold down springs on, it's going to look something like this. But the first thing you want to do is you got to put this little cross piece up here that goes up the top here and it holds the shoes on. And then it has to sit on a shoulder, so make sure you seat that all the way in there. And then you take the cable, I just set it right up on here. And then I kind of put it up over here out of the way for just a second. And then you take the piece that holds it right there, that's going to route that. You can pop it right in there. Then you take your first spring, which is the longer one, hook it right through there. Now, this is where most people grab a pair of pliers or vice grips or something. But if you have your brake pliers, it's as easy as this. You put it through there, you hook it on the post, just like that. No more busted knuckles, snapped fingers, pinched fingers. Now, take this other shoe, then you take your other spring, hook it right in there, and then again, same thing. Take your brake pliers, you hook onto that spring, and you hook the top of that post, and you just snap it into place. Again, one-handed. Now I did go ahead and I took the self-adjuster and I cleaned it off with a wire brush, made sure it moved good. And this is the part where the self-adjuster cable comes down, hooks to here. Then this spring goes over here to the other shoe. Now you'll notice the adjuster is not in here down below, and I'll show you here in a second how we put this part in by just pulling on it. So I'm going to put you back up on the tripod. Now we take our self-adjuster, you take the end that doesn't have the star wheel, you tuck it in behind the shoe, then you tuck the star wheel end and hook it onto the back shoe, and then you simply pull this shoe out, boom, you set it in there, and there you have it. If you've seen any videos on drum brakes, you know there's a shoe that has a lot of lining and a shoe that has a little lining. Always remember the big one in the back, okay? Now the way that the drum brakes work and why this side can be such a smaller surface area than back here, because honestly the back one does most of the work. Because if you notice the bottom set of the shoes, now up here we got a pin. This stuff doesn't move side to side, but down here, do you see how this whole thing can move side to side? So what happens is the brake drum rotates this way, and as it comes around, it's grabbing this shoe and in a sense forces and pushes back slightly, obviously it's much exaggerated, and drives this back shoe into the drum. So this one's helping stop, but it's shoving all the leverage into this shoe in the back of the drum. That's why this one has to be bigger. So if you've ever wondered why, that's why. All right, so this is our brake drum that we got back after it was turned. Took it to my local O'Reilly's to get it turned. So now you see this surface is all nice and smooth. Now when we were trying to get the drums off, you saw me really pulling and yanking. The ridge I'm talking about is always going to exist right here at the edge. Because when you have a brake shoe usually rides from about here up to here. It doesn't always go all the way to the edge. So you got this last little bit where the shoe's going to wear, but that last little bit doesn't get worn, so you'll actually have a lip or a ridge, okay? And then what happens is you're trying to pull the drum off the shoes and that ridge is catching. And that's why we had so much trouble getting them off. So when you remachine them, it cuts all the way across here and it'll cut that lip off too, so you can size them and get them on just right, which is what I'm going to show you with the next special tool. Okay, so when it comes time to put the drum on, okay, now obviously it's been changed in size and we've moved all the adjusters, so it's not going to be properly set. And you've seen people put it on, adjust, take it off, or take it off, adjust, put it back on, take it off, adjust, put it back on, take it off, adjust. Oops, too far, can't get it on. There's a tool for that. It's a real simple pair of calipers, just like this. And these are available on Amazon. I think it's literally like $23 or something. You take this caliper and it's got a lock knob on it here. This is a lock knob. And you put it in your drum and you open it up. Take the inside piece and you open it up and you move it back and forth till you find the biggest point and then you lock it. So now that I've locked this knob, so this was the inside diameter of the drum from here to here. Now, that is the same size as from here to here. So now that we know what size the drum is on the inside, we can take this up here and simply hold it up and go, huh, we got a mile to go. And you get your adjuster. Start cranking it out. Okay, when you get close, so we're just about there. Maybe a click or two more. All right, we're just right about there. So now, when we take our drum, it should slide right on and be set. So now, put it on there. You can hear it. Slightly dragging. That's what you want. Perfectly adjusted brakes. First time. All right, I'm gonna hop on over to the other side, knock it out real quick. Unless there's something to show you, I'm not gonna bother videoing it again, but jump over, knock the other one out. Be back when that's completed. I wanted to cover something here real quick. Now, there's two types of brake shoes that you're gonna run into when you're doing brakes. The biggest thing is if you see these little circles right here, these round holes, these mean that these are a riveted shoe, meaning this lining is riveted to the steel backing plate. So what that means is it's mechanically attached to here. There's no deterioration of any adhesives or anything. Now the other type is you won't see any of these circles, and that's a bonded lining, meaning this friction material is literally glued or epoxied to the steel backing plate. Now what can happen over time is that glue or that adhesive can deteriorate, but when they sit a long time, then you'll come in and it'll actually start lifting from here, and you can almost pick it up, and that's called delamination. And I won't ever reuse bonded brake shoes on something that sat a long time. Riveted, got no problem with it. This is the way they used to do it all the time ever since brakes have been around. So riveted, strong. Okay, we got the rears buttoned up. Let's see if we can get lucky on the front lines too. Oh yes, like butter. Oh, good. Got fortune on that one. Tell you what, snug that back up. I'm going to jump over to the other side real quick and see if I get lucky there. Let you know. Yes, I was successful on the other side as well. I'll always take it because one thing I do not enjoy doing is making metal brake lines. I can do it. I have the right tools and such. It's just, I don't like doing it. It's not fun. So we got these cracked loose. Let's jump in here and knock out these front brakes. Okay, now on Ford brakes of the 70s and such, this thing sure is in the way. This needs to become a deleted component. All right, these things have probably been on there since nearly when the car was new. They just scream that style. And yeah, these deleted. All right, as I was saying, Ford mounts their calipers a little different than GM's and such like you saw on the Grand Safari wagon. They use a slide plate here, and there's a bolt. Now it's a 1/4 inch hex, and what you want to do is just go easy on it, you know, don't go all gorilla, just see if it's going to crack loose. Okay, there it goes. Now if it feels like it's not going to go anywhere, stop. Tap on a little bit of heat, because if you snap one of these off, it goes right into the spindle. Just a lot of work to dig it out. So we'll take this out right here real quick. All right. And then you punch this slider out. Real simple. Get a hammer, a punch, set it right on here. Now it gets close to the other side, back off. Oh, you'll shoot it halfway across the shop. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyway, you can tell we're getting close to the end. There we go. And then it just drops to the floor over here instead of 20 feet that way. All right, once that happens, then the caliper really becomes very loose. And you pull out from the bottom, and then it'll come up out of the bracket. Okay, there we go. And there you go. Now the inside pad stays in the spindle. It pops out, and it has anti-rattle clips on it that I'll show you. You want to make sure that those get put back in, otherwise they will rattle. And it's obnoxious. There we go. There, the clip came off of it. So it has this anti-rattle clip right here. And this will always snap on. So then when you put it in there, this spring, it's got a spring on it. It just shot off. But that spring will keep it from rattling in there, because otherwise, once it gets in here, if it doesn't have that clip, it'll sit there and just like that, all going down the road. And yeah, it'll get a lot obnoxious real fast. All right, bearings sound good and smooth. I'm gonna crack this line off, pull the clip, change out this hose, change this caliper, and keep moving on with the front brakes. Alrighty, here we are. We're back to working on the brakes. It's next evening. I got tired last night, so we stopped right about there. Anyway, I'm gonna get cracking on these front brakes now. You saw me redo disc brakes somewhat in depth on the Pontiac Grand Safari, so I'm not gonna go into a lot of it now. I just wanted to show you the basic differences of Ford calipers and how they mount. These rotors would probably be fine if I put some brake pads on it and just drove down the road and hit the brakes for about 10 miles, but they're smooth enough. I'm gonna hit it with the 4.5-inch grinder. So I'll probably just come back for what I don't film when it's wrapped up, show you the end result. Let's get started. One brake rotor, refinished. It actually puts on a pretty good finish if you want to take a look here. As it spins it, it kind of puts a little multi-directional finish on there. That'll work out really good. I'm going to go ahead and get the inside done, and we'll have to hit the one on the other side when we do it too. But yeah, I think these rotors are going to be good. I'll get in here, repack the bearings, but yeah, it's time to put these brakes together. Okay, well, there we have it. This side's about wrapped up. Put the grease cap back on. Off the excess grease. This side should be ready to go. I'm going to hop over there to the other side, knock it out, and be back with you shortly. Got the side all knocked out as well with the new hose, caliper pads, packed the bearings, did the 4.5-inch grinder with a flat disc rotor resurface. Ready to go. All right, so we're going to play us a little game now. And the game is called How Much Transmission Fluid Can Jim Spill All Over the Floor? Because we're going to do us a transmission service. And yeah, a lot of it ends up on the floor. So we'll get all the screws out here. There we go. I'm going to let that get to a level where it's down at the pan rail. And then we can start loosening the last two corner bolts up here and let that pan tip down. But we're trying to do it at a, well, somewhat of a controlled fashion. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's kind of not exactly a bright red. And that's what I was worried about earlier in the video. And, well, the first video it was. You heard me talking about the transmission fluid did not look good. Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's the coloration. And I'll cover a little more of that here in a second. Right now, I gotta get some stuff for the floor because we are starting to get spots on the floor. Be right back. All right, most of it's dribbled out, so we're gonna take the last couple of pan bolts out. And this is where it can get messy. Hold on to your hat. Let's see how lucky I am tonight. Woo! I'll take that one. Wow, not too much of a slop at all. If you've ever done one and had the pan get away from you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I'll get this pan over to the workbench and see what we got. One of the things you heard me say earlier in the first video is I said that, boy, that transmission fluid does not look good. And what I was referring to is basically the color. So transmission fluid is supposed to be red, all right? Transmission fluid is supposed to be red like this. This is what came out of this one, all right? So my concern was, is it burnt, okay? Because if transmission fluid is burnt, then you have a problem. Or if there's a whole lot of metal particles in the bottom of the pan here. So what I expected to see was a lot more of the, like just black dust, which is clutch material. And that is normal, okay? A certain amount of that is normal. In fact, the Pontiac Safari wagon actually had more clutch material, way more clutch material than this in it. I am very, very pleased with what I'm seeing here. Yeah, I think it's just plain old fluid, okay? The fact that the fluid was discolored was my concern, okay? But if you have burnt transmission fluid and you take a whiff of it, you will know. I mean, it will be foul. It smells like transmission fluid still, but just like old engine oil has a smell. This smells like old oil, and it's not burnt. So I'm actually very, very pleased with what I'm seeing, and I've alleviated all my concerns about this transmission. Now, having said that, there's a lot of people that say, boy, if it's old with that much, you shouldn't change it because you can create problems. And that is true, because automatic transmission fluid is one of the highest detergent fluids in a car. So the whole thought is it could break loose debris and stuff and get in the valve body and plug it up and cause problems. Am I running a risk of that? Sure. Am I overly concerned with it? Not really. I feel that the benefit outweighs the risks. So we're going to finish this transmission service, get the filter out, clean this pan up, put it back together, get her filled up. Be back when this is wrapped up. Alrighty. Well, got the pan all cleaned up, got the filter changed, and getting ready to start all the nuts and such here, the pan bolts. So let's snug this thing back up on here. Alrighty, there we go. Get some brake clean, rinse this off real quick. We're gonna get her filled up. So let's pick up these tools here, drop the car down. We got some wheels and tires to throw on this bad boy. I have been joined by my supervisor. Wanna go to the house? Sandy has come down and joined me. You think I'm doing a good job? I think she's saying, Dad, it's time to come up to the house. All right, well, we'll get her wrapped up here. All righty. Got the brakes all done, got the hubs, hoses, everything ready to go with the wheels, tires, brakes, except one thing. That's right. Brand new rubber. We mounted up a set of 225/75 R15s. It's one size bigger than what was on here, but I think it needed just a little more tire. So get these popped up on here. All right, now, with the old lug nuts, they were pretty crusty. And then that, as I showed you in the last video, that chrome on them starts to bubble up and blister, and they just don't fit very good. So we have a brand new set of lug nuts, courtesy of lugnutguys.com. If you need a good set of lug nuts for something, or just want to get new ones so that they aren't all blistered and swollen and you need 3 different sockets to get them off. If it has to do with putting a wheel on a car, they can do it. Lug nuts, spacers, adapters, whatever you need, get a hold of them. lugnutguys.com. Now, if you put down there, when you go to their website and put in an order, use the discount code JIM. That'll get you a little bit of a break on your order, and you too can get a nice set of lug nuts for your ride. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these popped on here. We'll get them tightened up. New set of tires for the ride. Alrighty, let's get this thing lowered down. Well, that's going to about wrap it up for this week's episode of The Inevitable Jim. As I mentioned, earlier, I did have to go out of town about 3 days for work last week, so didn't get quite as much time in the shop here on the car as we'd hoped. So part 3, we'll be finishing up the mechanicals on it, getting a good drive in, and then we're gonna get this thing cleaned up, see what we can do with it. Now, I want to make a few announcements. So, the big announcement, merch is here. Yes, finally. Actually, it was done pretty quickly. I got to hand it to the guys at Marcus and his team. They did a great job. We have shirts, hats, and stickers. So go to theinevitablejim.com. That's right, theinevitablejim.com. Order your merch today if you're so inclined. He did a great job. The hats are embroidered, nice quality. The shirts are front and back. A little chest label on the front, bigger 12-inch logo on the back. And the stickers, well, they're just cool. You got to have them for your ride. So, yes, merch is here. The other thing I did a few videos ago is I had several people asking me about joining. Do I have memberships? And honestly, I hadn't even thought about it, but I looked into it and I thought, what is the harm in offering a membership? If you'd like to sign up and join, I set it as low as I could set it, which is $2.99 a month. If you want to support the channel, because this is not cheap to do, but it is fun, feel free to do so. I'm not saying you have to. I only did it and offered it because it's 100% optional. You don't have to. You can subscribe and still see all the great content. I don't have a huge ton of benefits for members just yet because we're still new, but we're going to be doing some live streams. You do get to see the videos before they go public to the mainstream, so there is a few benefits there. If you're interested, check it out. If not, just subscribe. That would be great. I do want to address something on this car. Well, I've been calling it a 78 XR7, and a handful of you guys out there that know your stuff pretty good told me, hey, Jim, we think that's a 79 because of the taillights. And I swore to God, I said, nope, it's the VIN number matches, and it said a 78. Well, I was wrong. Here's what happened. So, as you remember in the beginning of this video when we first started, they also showed me a Lincoln Continental. One of the cars is a 78, the other one's a 79. I simply flipped them in my head because when I got the cars, it was cold. It was late when it was dark when I got the titles. I simply went out with a flashlight. Yep, this VIN matches the car. This VIN matches the other car. And in my head, I had them switched 78 for 79. So yes, this is indeed a 1979 Cougar XR7. I have verified that. Hey, we're not perfect. None of us are. Appreciate you keeping me on my toes on that. So of course, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And get out in your garage. Work on that ride. Go out. Have some fun. Is it time to go up to the house? Is that what you're telling me? You go up and see Pam? You're such a cute little girl. Let's go inside.